Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. It is Monday, and we are reading from the 4th canto of the Bhagavat Purana, chapter 23, verse 13. So please repeat after me. Evam savira pravara. Evam savira pravara. Samyojatmanam atmani. Samyojatmanam atmani. Brahma-bhūto dridham kale. Brahma-bhūto dridham kale. Tatyajasvam kalevaram. Tatyajasvam kalevaram. Evam savira pravara. Samyojatmanam atmani. Brahma-bhūto dridham kale. Tatyajasvam kalevaram. Prabhus. Evam savira pravara. Samyojatmanam atmani. Brahma-bhūto dridham kale. Tatyajasvam kalevaram. Evam savira pravara. Evam savira pravara. Samyojatmanam atmani. Samyojatmanam atmani. Brahma-bhūto dridham kale. Brahma-bhūto dridham kale. Tatyajasvam kalevaram. Tatyajasvam kalevaram. Evam savira pravara. Evam savira pravara. Okay, we'll do the word-for-word translation. Evam, thus, sa, he, Vira Pravaraha, the chief of the heroes, Sangyoja, applying, Atmanam, mind, Atmani, unto the Supersoul, Brahma-bhūta, being liberated, Dridham, firmly, Kale, in due course of time, Tatyaja, gave up, Swam, own, Kalevaram, body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation, please hear. In due course of time, when Pṛthu Mahārāja was to give up his body, he fixed his mind firmly upon the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, and thus, completely situated on the brahma-bhūta platform, he gave up the material body. Purport. According to a Bengali proverb, whatever spiritual progress one makes in life will be tested at the time of death. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 6, it is also confirmed, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam eveti konteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Those who are practicing Krishna consciousness know that their examination will be held at the time of death. If one can remember Krishna at death, he is immediately transferred to Goloka Vrindavan, or Krishna Loka, and thus his life becomes successful. Pṛthu Mahārāja, by the grace of Krishna, could understand that the end of his life was near, and thus he became very jubilant and proceeded to completely give up his body on the brahma-bhūta stage by practicing the yogic process. It is thoroughly described in the following verses how one can voluntarily give up this body and return home back to Godhead. The yogic process practiced by Pṛthu Mahārāja at the time of death accelerates the giving up of this body while one is in sound health physically and mentally. Every devotee desires to give up the body while it is sound physically and mentally. This desire was also expressed by King Kulashekara in his Mukunda Mala Stotra. Kṛṣṇa tvadira padapankaja panjarantam adyeva me vishatu manasa raja hangsa prana prayana samaye kafafata pitte kantavarodhana vidho smaranam kutaste. King Kulashekara wanted to give up his body while in a healthy state, and he thus prayed to Kṛṣṇa to let him die immediately while he was in good health and while his mind was sound. When a man dies, he is generally overpowered by mucus and bile, and thus he chokes. Since it is very difficult to vibrate any sound while choking, it is simply by Krishna's grace that one can chant Hare Krishna at the time of death. However, by situating oneself in the muktasana position, a yogi can immediately give up his body and go to whatever planet he desires. A perfect yogi can give up his body whenever he desires through the practice of yoga. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamene Namaste Saraswata Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Hare Krishna. Let's just read the translation one more time. You can repeat after me. In due course of time, when Pṛthu Mahārāja was to give up his body, he fixed his mind firmly on the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, and thus, completely situated on the brahma-bhūta platform, he gave up the material body. Right, so Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he gives this verse from Bhagavad Gita, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajachyante kalevaram, that whatever object one is absorbed in at the time of death, certainly one attains that position. So We hear in Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yatha dehe komaram yovanam jara tata de hantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. Translation? Exactly. Yeah, so Gokul Prabhu, Gokul Prabhu? Goloka Prabhu. Prabhu, what's your name? Gokul, I was right. Okay, sorry. Gokul Prabhu was explaining that, this verse is talking about how at the time of death, we achieve the destination that we've been cultivating throughout our life. And Kṛṣṇa here is telling Arjuna that, Komarang Yovanam Jara, that we have changed bodies already in this life so many times. Often people can't grasp this idea that actually this isn't our only body. We're so absorbed in the bodily identification, the bodily conception of life, that to think that we can have another body, not just one other body, but infinite other bodies. Since time immemorial, we've been taking births, and we've all been grasshoppers, worms, we've all been monkeys, cows, lions, demigods. We've even been Brahma. Every single one of us has already been in the position of Lord Brahma. It's said that's the first, birth we take. But our brahma-bhūta loka, from the position of Lord Brahma, the topmost position that one can achieve in the material universe, which is to be born at the start of the universe and to die at the very end of the existence of the universe, right? So the longest lifespan in this material creation still has a beginning and an end, right? Adyantavanta kaunteya, that only foolish people seek happiness in things which have a beginning and an end. Because that's not happiness. It definitionally can't be happiness if it has a beginning and an end. Because what does the end mean? Suffering. Whatever you were enjoying, it's now been taken out of your hands, right? Like a lolly is taken out of the hands of a baby. So, Kṛṣṇa tells us already in this life, childhood, youth, old age, we've seen all these changes of body. So is it really so hard to imagine that at the time of death, this thing which has been present through so many changes, not just material, like gross body, but even subtly we've changed so many times. I mean, in a lifespan, yes, I've personally changed my beliefs about the world many times. I've changed my definition of what it means to be Bhakta Ed, or Edward Breslin. When I was a kid, I was the annoying little brother who had too much energy all the time, and then in high school I was the introverted, too cool for school. Now I'm pretending to be a devotee at Hare Kṛṣṇa at North Sydney ISKCON Temple. Like that we go through so many mental concoctions of who I am. But actually underneath all of that, underneath, like the tilak and the, pretending to be a humble devotee, there is a spirit soul who is actually a servant of Kṛṣṇa, not just pretending, not just imitating others, but is actually constantly engaged in devotional service. Even conditioned souls are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead without realizing it. I just read recently, it's really bewildering, but actually, Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate, Kṛṣṇa has unlimited potencies, and those potencies are summarized into 3 categories. So the first is the Antaranga Shakti, the internal spiritual potency of the Lord, and Kṛṣṇa is eternally in that transcendental aloof position, right? Rukmini Devi, she tells Kṛṣṇa that, you are completely transcendental to the material modes. Kṛṣṇa tells her that I'm hiding here in Dwaraka from all of the kings, right? And I'm such a coward. How can you love me? But Rukmini is very, very intelligent. She doesn't fall for Kṛṣṇa's tricks, and she tells him, no. Who are these worldly kings? The real worldly kings are the modes of material nature, right? They drive everything. Ahankara vimudhatma. prakrite kriyamanani, the fool thinks that I am doing, I am making this happen. Me, I am the doer. I am God, I am the supreme agent. But actually everything is just the playing out of sattva, raja, tamas. These three modes are always in a competition, fighting to have supremacy. These three modes. So actually the Katha Upanishad explains there's a tree. There's this tree somewhere. And in that tree there are two birds. Right? One bird is the soul, the individual, Atma, and the other bird is the witness, the Paramatma, the super soul. Right? So one bird is enjoying two fruits. There's two fruits in the tree and two birds. Only one of the birds is enjoying these two fruits. What are the two fruits? Icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. That all living beings are born into this material world out of illusion, which arises from two things. Icha, dvesha, attachment and aversion. Right? So these are the two fruits of this tree of material existence. And the conditioned living being is the bird eating these fruits. And that tree has three roots. The three roots are, anyone want to guess? Yeah, sattva, raja, tamagun, the three modes of material nature. So the three modes of material nature, they're like the foundation of everything that we are experiencing in the material world. And those two fruits, they have four tastes. Those four tastes are dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So when we identify with these attachments and aversions in the mind, they manifest in only four specific material desires. These are like the four pillars of material life, which is interesting. Religion, dharma, and moksha, liberation, you wouldn't think that those are pillars of material life. They sound kind of spiritual, right? But religious activity which is done for one's own benefit, one's own advancement, aggrandizement, or to achieve a better position in the next life. Even you have this knowledge that I'm not the body, I'm the spirit soul, after this life, tyajatyante kalevaram, that which I've been absorbed in, I will achieve. Even people who have such knowledge, the perfect example is Hiranyakashipu, right? He's got a whole chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam where he preaches, he just gives tattva, siddhanta, like spiritual knowledge, and we study it, and Prabhupada's like giving purports on it, and it's spiritual knowledge, like we're learning from Hiranyakashipu. But he is a demon, like he is a atheist, he is antagonistic to God. And his primary motive is to kill Lord Vishnu and to give trouble to the brahmanas, the cows, Vedic culture. So he's engaged in austerity with the intention of living forever, not in Goloka Vrindavan, not as an eternal servant of Kṛṣṇa, but in his own present body, by which he wants to lord it over the entire universe, and he wants to replace Lord Brahma, which no one had ever tried to do up until that point in time. Hiranyakashipu was the first living being in this universe, at least, to try and take the position of Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma was, willing to give it to him. He was so impressed by his austerities, right? We're hearing about Pṛthu Mahārāja in this chapter. And Pṛthu Mahārāja is an avatar of Lord Vishnu, a Shaktivesh avatar. And he is demonstrating how Kṛṣṇa always follows perfectly dharma. We were talking about the four tastes of the fruits, right? Dharma is one of those. And dharma done to please Lord Vishnu is transcendental, that is spiritual. So Pṛthu Mahārāja was performing austerities because he has now come to the vanaprastha sannyas period of life. And so within varnashram dharma, he is executing his prescribed duties. He is eating only grass, leaves, roots. He's living in the forest with his wife, Archi. And they are leaving behind all worldly duties. and just entering into yogic meditation. So in Satya Yuga, this was the prescribed process of liberation. Not just of liberation, but of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we see here that in contrast to Hiranyakashipu, who was performing such severe austerities, standing on one toe, he was standing there for so long, completely still, just absorbed in samadhi, that ant mounds started growing on his body, and his flesh was wearing away. And so he just had like bones. He was basically a skeleton with life air like passing through it. And so Lord Brahma comes and he's like, I've never seen this before, like you've done another level of austerity, another level of tapasya. So he pours from his what's it called? The pot? Yeah, like lota pot. Lord Brahma pours Kamandalu, that's it, thank you for, yeah. And his transcendental water comes and splashes the head of Hiranyakashipu. His body is completely rejuvenated, a fulgent body, and now he has been given the benediction that, no man, no animal can kill him, all of those things that we might recall from the Maha-Avatar movie. Like that, Hiranyakashipu achieves this benediction. But still, as we were establishing that, even with the benediction that nothing can kill him, no one can kill him, nowhere can he be killed. Basically, in no way can he be killed. Because he hasn't come to the transcendental platform, which Pṛthu Mahārāja has by his Pṛthu Mahārāja's austerity, it was said just 2 verses ago, I think. Just the previous verse. Maybe 2 verses ago. Maharaj Pṛthu thus engaged completely in devotional service, executing the rules and regulations strictly according to principles 24 hours daily. Thus his love and devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa developed and became unflinching and fixed. So Maharaj Pṛthu followed that path of tapasya, sitting cross-legged in the forest, blocking his life, the gates of the body, so that the life airs would travel up to the top of the head. He was following basically like Ashtanga yoga, but he was doing it in order to concentrate his mind on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Right. So these lotus feet of the Supreme Lord are the goal of all dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But when these 4 tastes, or these 4 pillars of life, are not directed towards the Supreme Lord, but they're directed towards Ichcha, Dvesha, the 2 fruits of material existence, they are considered materialistic. So these are the 4 tastes of the fruits in the tree. The tree also has 5 senses, right? So we have the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, and a sense of touch. So these are the 5 senses that are explained in this tree. And those senses come with 6 whips. Each sense is afflicted by 6 whips. And this is material existence. This tree is helping us to get a grasp of where we are situated in contrast to the spiritual world. So the 6 whips are hunger, thirst, disease, illusion, lamentation, and death. So these 6 things afflict our material senses. Then it is given that there are 7 layers to the material body. And so we were just hearing about Hiranyakashipu, right? He was doing such severe austerity that there was nothing left but bone and life air, right? But the 7 layers of the material body that are given are skin, muscle, blood, fat, marrow, bone, and semen. And these 7 layers cover the life airs. There are also 8 elements, which are building blocks of the material tree. So the first is earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. Then that's 8. We're going all the way up to 10. Just bear with me, we'll just finish off the tree. So there are also 9 gates to the material body. we have the 2 eyes again, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, the genitals and the anus, 9 gates of the material body, and we're hearing about Maharaj Pṛthu, who is closing these gates, right, so that the life airs can travel up to the top chakra, the top of between the eyebrows, and then out the crown. And this is how yogis exit their material bodies, how they give up their life willingly when they're ready to travel to a different planet or a spiritual planet. They choose to do so at an auspicious time by their own will. Right? So it's explained that when we take birth, it is under the dominion of the forces of material nature. When we take birth, it is against our will, actually. We have our desires to enjoy, and according to those desires, and according to our karma, we are forced into different bodies. Right? So if I desire to be Lord Brahma, like Hiranyakashipu, but I don't perform the necessary, pious activity, tapasya, then it's not going to happen. I'm going to get pushed down into a pig life. If I've been eating like a pig and saying, one day I'll be Lord Brahma, I'll be eating, whatever I want, indiscriminately behaving according to my desires, then you get given a body which is suitable for you to live out those desires. So we've gone through the 9 gates, and then finally the 10 life heirs is the final stage of this tree of material existence, the 10 life heirs. So the Shastras explain there are 10 airs which pass through the body. The first is prana. Most people know prana. It's like the fundamental life air, which travels between the top of the head and the navel. Apana is the air that travels from the navel out the anus, so that's for excreting. Samana is circulating around the stomach, so that helps us with digestion. Udana travels from the navel up out the throat, and that helps us with speaking, communicating. And Vyana is what circulates the blood around the body. So they're the 5 primary life airs. There's also 5 more, like Naga helps us with belching, like burping. I'm pretty good at that one. I got a lot of Naga prana. There's Kurma, which helps us contract our muscles, right? So you can blink or use your muscles to do things. It requires the Kurma prana. There's Devadatta, which helps us relax our muscles. It's kind of like the opposite. Krikala, which gives us our appetite. So without this air passing through the stomach, we wouldn't have a desire to eat. And then finally there's Dhananjaya, which gives the body sustenance. So these 10 life airs are also crucial to having a material body. But all of these things, the point is that this whole tree is actually a prison in the material world. And when we take birth, it's because we are being forced by the previous karmic activities that we've performed. But when the Supreme Lord, or when a devotee, a pure devotee, descends to this material world like Pṛthu Mahārāja, they do so completely out of their own independent free will, right? So they take birth with a specific purpose, what's that verse? Sambhavami yuge yuge, that's all I remember. Kṛṣṇa takes birth yuga after yuga to re-establish the principles of Dharma, annihilate the demons, and to reciprocate lovingly with his devotees. So when Kṛṣṇa appears, it's purely transcendental. I was explaining the 3 potencies, the 3 energies which are like the main categories of all of Krishna's unlimited potencies. Antaranga being the internal. Kṛṣṇa is always in his internal potency. So even when he appears here in the material world, we're seeing the internal potency become prakrita, manifest before our vision. But typically it is internal. It's said that there is nothing more dear to the living being than the self. The self. I don't know if you've ever tried to find the self, like in meditation or something. We can see our hands, we can hear our mind, but to be aware of the self is actually very difficult. It's this very like internal thing, right? So Kṛṣṇa is always enjoying spiritual mellows in the internal potency. And it's said that there is actually one thing more dear to the living being than the self, which is the super self, right? So if we think finding our sense of identity is difficult, finding Kṛṣṇa is even more difficult. He's very, very hidden. He's like the most secret of secrets, guhyam. And so Kṛṣṇa and his internal potency, internal pleasure potency are very, very internal. But that means that they are inside us actually. And that's why it's said that jivera swarupa hoy Kṛṣṇara nityadas. Our original constitutional position, constitutional. So deep in here somewhere is the soul. And inside that soul is a loving, humble service mood, which is directed at the other bird, right? The second bird that we spoke about, which is Kṛṣṇa, the Paramatma. So, yes, that's the internal potency of the Lord. We are the marginal potency, which is the Tatashta Shakti. Jiver Swarupa Hoy Kṛṣṇa Nityadas Tatashta Shakti. We are the, it's explained that Kṛṣṇa actually expands himself as the marginal potency to taste material mellows. So Kṛṣṇa actually, everything is Kṛṣṇa. Like we can't separate the sunshine from the sun. So the sunshine and the sun is just the sun, right? In that sense, Kṛṣṇa's energies, the internal, the marginal, the external, Bahiranga Shakti, all of that together is Kṛṣṇa. Same way, Paramatma, Brahman, Bhagavan, these three aspects of God, all of that together is Kṛṣṇa. Everything is Kṛṣṇa. That's the oneness aspect which Mahaprabhu acknowledges inside the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. But just to acknowledge the oneness means that we miss out on the reality of the unlimited mellows and varieties of loving exchange which exist in the spiritual world. So simultaneously and inconceivably alongside that oneness is the difference between Kṛṣṇa and the material world, between Kṛṣṇa and Brahman, Paramatma. He is Swayam Bhagavan, right? So Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is always completely transcendental and aloof to these external activities. And it's said that the external material world which we are lost in, right, entangled in this tree, absorbed in tasting those two fruits of suffering, right, desire and hatred, this is an external reflection of the transcendental spiritual pastimes which are always taking place in the internal spiritual world. So Pṛthu Mahārāja is now being absorbed in the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa by his yogic meditation. And by being absorbed in the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, one becomes completely transcendental to the material world, and to do so at the time of death, as Pṛthu Mahārāja is doing with his own independent will, right? We said Kṛṣṇa descends by his own independent will, same as his pure devotees. In the same way they wind up their manifest pastimes, right? They disappear by their own independent will. So Pṛthu Mahārāja is a pure devotee, and he's, by his own perfect will, he is deciding to leave his body. And so to do so, he is fixing his mind by this yogic process, and he's demonstrating to us what we need to do, right, to achieve the perfection of life. This is one of the key points of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj, who's been cursed to die in 7 days' time, he asks Shukadev Goswami a series of questions, and one of those is, what is the duty of someone who is about to die? So Maharaj Pṛthu is answering that question by his own example. Yat yat acharati shreshtas tat tat evetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. That one who, those activities which a perfect man performs, the whole world pursues. So Pṛthu Mahārāja is a perfect personality. We've heard all about his glories in the previous chapter and his activities. And now we're seeing what a perfect person does at the time of death. It's very difficult for us, though, to perform Ashtanga Yoga. And that's why Srila Prabhupada has given us, in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this sublime process of chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's said that the Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. There's so much wrong with this age. We have short lives. We have no time to do anything because we're constantly just trying to defend ourselves, get enough food on the table, pay for rent, please the boss at work, whatever we have to do. We have no intelligence. It's so difficult for us to understand spiritual things. Like Srila Prabhupada repeats the same point again and again and again every purport. And we read it, and it's just like, you can feel it's like, I'm reading it, but it's just not going in, We do not have the intelligence for spiritual knowledge. And even if we get something in, not just the next day, but like an hour later, it's gone. We forget. So we have forgetfulness, we have a lack of intelligence, we have short lives, and we have no time. But in such a situation, there is one good quality about this age that we're in. Actually, we are very, very lucky. And we have such a special opportunity. Because in this age of Kali, the Yuga Dharma is the chanting, the Sankirtan Yagya, chanting of the holy names of Kṛṣṇa, Radha and Kṛṣṇa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, Kṛṣṇa Varnam Tvusha Kṛṣṇam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Praryai Yajanti Hi Sumerasaha. He comes to establish that the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in congregation with devotees is the most sublime process. So we might ask, why isn't Pṛthu Mahārāja just chanting Hare Krishna? It's explained that this chanting process is available in all yugas, but it's especially potent in this yuga, because it's the Yuga Dharma. According to Shastra, it's what we're supposed to perform in this age. In Satya Yuga, it's especially potent to perform these tapasya which Pṛthu Mahārāja is performing. And they have the facilities to do it. They have long lifespans. They have a lot more mental clarity than we might. So they have the facilities to perform that process, and it's given by Shastra, so it's especially potent. In this age, we can try and do tapasya. We can try and do deity worship. We can try and do yagya, sacrifices. We can try and do these things to satisfy, our independent whims, yashastra vidhimutsraja vartate kamakarataha. One can, abandon the advice of Shastra and perform activities according to their whims. You can do that, but if you do, nasasiddham avapnoti nasukam naparam gatim. You will not achieve the ultimate happiness. You will not achieve perfection, and you will not achieve the goal of life. So by following the process given in the Shastras, which is in this age to chant Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, one can achieve the perfection which Pṛthu Mahārāja has achieved, which is remembering the lotus feet of the Lord at the time of death. And just to finish the class on that point, I have one bhajan which is really beautiful. I heard His Holiness Suhotra Swami Maharaj give a lecture series about this song. Hopefully if we have time we can quickly read the translation as well. It's exactly what we've been hearing about in this purport. Srila Prabhupada referenced that verse by Kulashekara, explaining that he wanted to give up his body while in a healthy state, because when a man dies, he is generally overpowered by mucus and bile. Right? We spoke about those 7 layers which make up the material body. At the time of death, one is overpowered by mucus and bile, and thus he chokes. Since it is very difficult to vibrate any sound while choking, it is simply by Krishna's grace that one can chant Hare Krishna at the time of death. So to invoke that grace, we can sing one bhajan. It's called, you can maybe look it up on your phones, Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Everyone found it? Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Manopran Kandena Manopran Kandena Pakina Janikon Aparadhe Pakina Janikon Aparadhe Pakina Janikon Aparadhe Mukhe Hare Krishna Nam Bolona. Okay. Hare Krishna Nam Bolona. Mukhe Hare Krishna Nam Bolona. Mukhe Hare Krishna Nam Bolona. Bane pakire dhare Raklam Hridoy Mandire. Bane pakire dhare Raklam Hridoy Mandire. Madhumaka e Harinam. Madhumaka e Harinam. Fakire Shikaile Shike. Fakire Shikaile Shike. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Pakhi sakal naam bolte paro. Pakhi sakal naam bolte paro. Keno Hare Krishna Nam bolo na. Keno Hare Krishna Nam bolo na. Keno Hare Krishna Nam bolo na. Keno Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Pak Manopran Kandena. Manopran Kandena. Chalo paki rupe deshe jai. Chalo paki rupe deshe jai. Chalo paki rupe deshe jai. Jai deshete manir manushasha jayoyanai. Jai deshete manir manush asha jayoyanai. Jai deshete manir manush asha jayoyanai. Jai deshete manir manush asha jay. Pakire tor marana kalete. Pakire tor marana kalete. Pakire tor marana kalete. Charabivase dolate. Charabivase dolate. Charabivase dolate. Ore char janate konde kore. Ore char janate konde kore. Ore char janate konde kore. Loye jabe smashan gatete. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Ore o tor muke aguna jive tule. Ore o tor muke aguna jive tule. Ore o tor muke aguna jive tule. Ore o tor muke aguna. Ki korobi tai bolona. Ki korobi tai bolona. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Keno Hare Krishna Nam Hari Bole. Mano pran kandena. Mano pran kandena. Mano pran kandena. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Alright, maybe we can quickly read the translation. You want to read like one verse each? I'll go first, I guess. So the refrain, oh, why does my heart not weep from chanting the holy names Hare Krishna? Jai. Hare Kṛṣṇa. His Divine Grace Bhaktivinoda Thakur Swami ki Jai. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Thai Gaura Premanandi.